Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, New York, September 15, 1984, 3:47 a.m. Maria Santos, night shift nurse, heard crying from room 412. She pushed the door open quietly. There, sitting on the edge of the hospital bed in darkness, was Muhammad Ali, the greatest boxer in the world, crying like a child, his hands shaking uncontrollably from the Parkinson's diagnosis he'd received just 6 hours earlier. "I can't do this anymore," he whispered. However, when he saw her, Maria sat down next to him. What she told him in the next 20 minutes would not only save his career, it would change how Ali viewed strength for the rest of his life. But what Maria was hiding about her own family would make this moment even more powerful. 6 hours earlier, everything had changed. September 14, 1984, 9:30 p.m. Dr. Stanley Fawn's office. Muhammad Ali sat across from the neurologist, his wife Lonnie holding his hand. They'd been running tests for weeks. The slurred speech, the trembling hands, the slowness. Ali had blamed it on too many punches, occupational hazard, he joked to reporters. But Dr. Fawn's face said this wasn't a joke. "Mohammed, the tests confirm what we suspected. You have Parkinson's disease." The words hung in the air like a final bell. "Parkinson's," Ali repeated slowly. "That's the shaking disease. It's a degenerative neurological condition. It affects movement, speech, motor control. There's no cure." Lonnie's grip tightened on Ali's hand. "How bad will it get?" Ali asked. Dr. Fawn was quiet for a moment. "It's progressive. Over time the symptoms will worsen. The tremors will increase, speech will become more difficult, movement will slow." "Can I still box, Mohammed? Can I?" "No. You need to retire. Immediately. Any more head trauma could accelerate the progression dramatically." Ali stood up, started pacing, the tremor in his left hand more visible now that he knew what it was. "I've got fights scheduled, contracts, people depending on. You have your life to think about." Dr. Fawn interrupted gently. "This disease will take enough from you. Don't give it more ammunition." When they left, Ali was silent. Lonnie drove. He stared out the window at New York City lights, hands shaking in his lap. "I need to be alone tonight," he finally said. I need to think." So she dropped him at the hospital's residential wing, room 412. He was supposed to check out tomorrow, go home to Louisville, start planning his retirement announcement. Instead, he sat in that room, in the dark, and let himself break. That's when Maria heard the crying. Maria Santos was 28 years old, 5 years into her nursing career. Night shift, 3 nights a week, to support her daughter Elena while finishing her nurse practitioner degree. She loved night shift, quieter, more time with patients who couldn't sleep. 3:47 a.m. She was doing her rounds when she heard it. Room 412. She checked her chart. Muhammad Ali. Her father had loved Ali. Used to watch his fights religiously. Used to. Maria pushed that thought away. She knocked softly. No answer. Just crying. She opened the door. The man sitting on the bed looked nothing like the champion she'd seen on TV. He looked small, vulnerable, lost. "Mr. Ali, are you okay?" He looked up. Even in the darkness, she could see tears on his face, his hands shaking badly. "I'm sorry," he managed. "I didn't mean to disturb anyone." "You didn't disturb. I'm just checking on you. Can I turn on a light?"
No.
"Please, I don't want anyone to see me like this." Maria understood. She'd seen it before. Strong people breaking in the dark, waiting until they thought no one was watching. She pulled a chair over, sat down facing him. "You want to talk about it? You know who I am. I know who you are. Then you know I'm supposed to be strong, supposed to be the greatest. Can't let people see me crying like a baby. I'm a nurse. I've seen presidents cry, senators, CEOs. Pain doesn't care about titles." Ali almost laughed, but it turned into a sob. "They told me I have Parkinson's, that I have to stop fighting, that this disease is going to take everything from me piece by piece. My movement, my speech, my independence, everything that makes me me." His hands shook harder. He stared at them like they belonged to someone else. I don't know how to be Muhammad Ali without boxing, without being strong, without being the champion. Maria was quiet for a moment. Then, can I tell you about my father? Ali looked up, surprised. Your father? What Maria said next would change everything Ali believed. His name was Carlos. He was a construction worker, strongest man I ever knew. Could lift anything, never got sick, never complained. He died 2 years ago. Ali else. Lou Gehrig's disease. Ali's face softened. I'm sorry. It's like Parkinson's in some ways. Degenerative. No cure. It took his strength piece by piece. The man who could carry steel beams couldn't feed himself at the end, couldn't speak, couldn't move. That's what I'm afraid of. I know. But here's what my father taught me in those last 2 years, Mr. Ali. Being strong isn't about what your body can do. It's about what your spirit refuses to give up. Maria leaned forward. You want to know the bravest thing my father ever did? It wasn't lifting steel beams. It wasn't working 3 jobs to support us. It was the day he asked me to help him in the bathroom. The day he admitted he couldn't do it alone anymore. She paused, remembering. He cried that day, said he felt like less of a man, like he was weak, and I told him, Papa, you're not weak, you're human, and asking for help when you need it. That's the bravest thing anyone can do. Ali was listening intently now, crying quietly, but listening. Mr. Ali, you've spent your whole life being strong for other people, being the champion, the hero, the man who never backs down. That's not going away. But now you have a different fight. I don't want this fight, Ali whispered. Neither did my father. But you don't choose your battles. You choose how you fight them. How do I fight something I can't punch? Something inside me. Maria smiled sadly. You fight by living. By showing people that champions don't just win in the ring. They win in life, in the small moments, in the daily battles nobody sees. But I'm supposed to be an inspiration. How do I inspire people when I'm falling apart? My father inspired me more in his weakness than he ever did in his strength. Because when he was strong, I thought I could never be like him. But when he was vulnerable, when he struggled, when he needed help, that's when I learned real courage. Ali wiped his eyes. Your father, did he ever regret the life he lived? I asked him that. Near the end. You know what he said? He said, I wish I'd let people see me struggle sooner, because maybe someone else struggling would have felt less alone. The words hit Ali like a punch. You're Muhammad Ali. Millions of people know your name, love you, are inspired by you, and now you have a chance to inspire them in a different way. To show them that being a champion isn't about never falling. It's about getting back up. I don't know if I can do that. You can. Because champions don't choose to be champions. They choose to fight. And Mr. Ali, this disease is going to try to beat you. But it can't take your spirit unless you let it. Ali was quiet for a long time. Then what was your father's name again? Carlos Santos. I wish I could have met him. He watched all your fights. Used to tell me that man knows something important. He knows that losing doesn't make you a loser. Quitting makes you a loser. Ali smiled through his tears. Your father was a wise man. He was, and he'd tell you the same thing I'm telling you now. This isn't the end of your story. It's just a new chapter, and it might be the most important one you ever write. But Maria was hiding something Ali didn't know. They talked until dawn, about fear, about loss, about what it means to be strong when your body betrays you. At 6 a.m., Maria's shift ended. She stood to leave. Thank you, Ali said. I don't even know your full name. Maria Santos. Maria Santos. I won't forget that name. And Mr. Ali, whatever you decide to do next, retire, keep fighting, whatever. Just remember, the world needs to see that even champions struggle. Because most people aren't champions. They're just trying to get through the day. And seeing you struggle, and keep going, that might help them more than any knockout ever did. She left. Ali sat there, as the sun came up through the window, hands still shaking, future still uncertain. But something had shifted, a small light in the darkness. What Ali didn't know, what Maria had never told him, was that her daughter Elena was sick. The same ALS that had killed her father was showing early signs in her 7-year-old daughter. Genetic, rare, devastating. Maria was working night shifts, getting her nurse practitioner degree, saving every penny for Elena's future treatment, for however long her daughter had. She hadn't mentioned it because Ali didn't need her pain. He had enough of his own, but talking to Ali had helped her too. Reminded her of what she'd told her father, what she'd now told Ali. Keep fighting, not because you'll win, but because that's what warriors do. 3 weeks later, Ali made a decision that shocked the world. October 1984. Press conference. New York City. Muhammad Ali stood at a podium, cameras flashing, reporters packed into the room. His hands trembled slightly as he held the microphone. His speech was slower than usual, but he was there. I'm here to announce my retirement from professional boxing. Expected. Everyone knew this was coming. But I'm also here to announce something else. He paused, looked directly at the cameras. I've been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. The room exploded. Reporters shouting questions. Cameras going crazy. Ali held up his shaking hand. The room quieted. A lot of people are going to see this as a tragedy. The great Muhammad Ali, brought down by disease. But I don't see it that way. I've fought a lot of battles in my life. In the ring. Outside the ring. I've won some, lost some. But I never quit. And I'm not quitting now. This disease is going to try to take things from me. My movement, my speech, maybe more. But it can't take my spirit. It can't take who I am. It can't take my purpose. He looked directly into the main camera. Someone told me recently that the world doesn't need to see perfect champions. It needs to see real champions. Champions who struggle, who fall, who get back up. Because that's what most people are doing every day. So I'm not hiding this. I'm not pretending I'm fine. I'm going to show people what it looks like to fight a battle you can't knock out. To keep going when your body says stop. To be a champion, not because you win, but because you refuse to quit. This isn't the end of Muhammad Ali. This is just a different kind of fight. And I intend to win it the same way I won in the ring. One round at a time. One day at a time. With courage, with heart, with faith. He stepped back from the podium. The room erupted again. But Ali just smiled. That famous Ali smile. Even with the tremors. Even with the fear. Because a nurse named Maria Santos had reminded him. Champions don't choose their battles. They choose how to fight them. Maria saw the press conference from her hospital break room. Maria was eating lunch in the hospital cafeteria when Ali's press conference came on TV. She stopped mid-bite, watched him announce his diagnosis, his retirement, his decision to fight publicly, and she knew, somehow, she knew her words that night had made a difference. 2 weeks later, she got a letter at the hospital. No return address, just Maria Santos, RN, Columbia Presbyterian Hospital. She opened it. Dear Maria, you probably don't remember me. We talked one night when I was at my lowest. You told me about your father Carlos, about courage, about how champions fight even when they can't win. I want you to know that conversation saved me, not my career, my life, my spirit, my hope. I've decided to fight this disease publicly, to show people that it's okay to struggle, that asking for help isn't weakness, that vulnerability is actually strength. I learned that from you, and from your father, through your words. I don't know if I'll ever see you again, but I want you to know, that night you were the champion, not me. You saved someone when they needed saving. That's what real strength looks like. Thank you for everything. Your friend, Muhammad Ali. P.S. How is your daughter? You mentioned her briefly that night. I hope she's well. Maria read the letter 3 times, tears streaming down her face. He'd remembered everything, even Elena. She wrote back, told him about Elena's diagnosis, about the fight ahead, about how his words were now helping her. They wrote back and forth for months, then years, not often. Ali's condition made writing difficult, but the connection remained. Then in 1996, something incredible happened. July 19, 1996, Atlanta Olympics, opening ceremony. The Olympic torch was making its final journey. The stadium, dark, a billion people watching worldwide. Then the spotlight hit. Muhammad Ali stood at the top of the stairs, holding the torch. His hands shook violently from the Parkinson's. His arm trembled as he lifted the torch toward the Olympic cauldron. The world held its breath. Some people thought he'd drop it, thought it was cruel to make him do this in his condition. But Ali didn't drop it. His hand shook, his arm trembled, but he raised that torch and lit the Olympic flame. The stadium exploded in applause, people crying, standing ovation that lasted 5 minutes. It was one of the most powerful moments in Olympic history, not because Ali was perfect, but because he wasn't. The whole world watched a champion struggle, shake, fight his own body, and win. In her apartment in New York, Maria Santos watched with Elena, now 19 years old. The ALS had been slow, thank God. Elena was in a wheelchair now, but alive, fighting. "Mama, that's him, isn't it? The man you told me about."
Yes.
"Me. He's shaking so much."
It must be so hard. Yes.
"But he's doing it anyway. That's what champions do." Elena was quiet for a moment. Then, "Mama, I want to finish college, even if I can't walk, even if it gets harder. I want to try." Maria hugged her daughter, both of them crying, as they watched Ali on TV. That's what he'd given them, the courage to keep fighting. The next day Maria wrote to Ali, "Dear champion, last night, you showed the world what I saw in that hospital room 12 years ago. Real strength, real courage. My daughter watched you light that torch, and for the first time since her diagnosis, she talked about the future with hope instead of fear. You did that, not by being perfect, by being human. Carlos would be proud. I'm proud. Thank you for fighting, for showing us how." She never got a reply. Ali's condition had progressed too far for writing. But 3 months later, a check arrived, made out to Elena Santos Medical Fund. The amount $50,000, and a note in someone else's handwriting. From the champ, "Keep fighting." When Muhammad Ali died in June 2016, Maria Santos flew to Louisville for the funeral. She'd never met him again in person after that night in 1984. Just letters, just that connection. But at the funeral, Ali's wife Lonnie found her. "Maria Santos, yes, Muhammad wanted me to give you something, if anything happened to him." She handed Maria an envelope. Inside was a photo, Ali lighting the Olympic torch in 1996, and on the back, in shaky handwriting, "To Maria, you taught me that courage isn't about never falling. It's about getting back up, even when you're shaking. Even when the world is watching, even when you're scared. Thank you for that night. It saved my life. Me, Ni, And a second note, typed, dated 2015. "Maria, I don't know if I'll be here when you read this. The disease has taken a lot. Movement is hard, but my spirit, still fighting. I wanted you to know that night, in the hospital, when you told me about Carlos, about being brave enough to ask for help, that changed everything. I spent my whole career being the greatest, never showing weakness, never admitting struggle. You gave me permission to be human, to show people that champions aren't perfect. They're persistent. Every time I've struggled publicly with Parkinson's, I've thought about your father, about how he inspired you more in his weakness than his strength. I hope I've done the same. I hope someone, somewhere, saw me shake and thought, if Ali can keep going, maybe I can too. Thank you for being honest with me that night, for trusting me with your pain, for teaching me that asking for help isn't weakness, it's wisdom." I heard Elena graduated college, is working with disabled children. "Maria, that's Carlos's legacy, your legacy, and in a small way, maybe mine too. We showed each other that the fight isn't over when your body gives up. It's over when your spirit does. Your friend always, Muhammad." Maria read it through tears. Lonnie hugged her. "He talked about you, about that night, about how you saved him when he was ready to give up." Today, Elena Santos is 43 years old, still alive, defying all odds. She runs a support group for people with degenerative diseases. On the wall of her office hangs that photo. Ali lighting the Olympic torch, hand shaking, face determined, and underneath, a quote, "Champions don't choose their battles, they choose how to fight them." Maria Santos is 68 now, retired. But she still tells the story of that night, in 1984, when the greatest boxer in the world sat in a dark hospital room and cried. "People think heroes are the ones who never break," she says, "but real heroes are the ones who break, and then choose to keep going anyway." The lesson Ali learned that night, that Maria learned from her father, is simple but profound. Strength isn't about never needing help. It's about being brave enough to ask for it. Victory isn't about never falling. It's about getting back up. And being a champion isn't about being perfect. It's about being human enough to show others that imperfection is okay. Muhammad Ali once said, "It isn't the mountains ahead to climb that wear you out. It's the pebble in your shoe." That night, Maria Santos helped him take the pebble out. The belief that admitting weakness meant he wasn't a champion anymore. She showed him that real champions aren't the ones who never struggle. They're the ones who struggle and keep fighting anyway. Ali carried that lesson for the rest of his life, fought Parkinson's publicly, let the world see him shake, let them see him struggle, and in doing so he inspired millions more people than he ever did by winning in the ring. Because perfect champions are impressive, but human champions, they're relatable, they give hope. Subscribe for more untold stories of Muhammad Ali, the battles nobody saw. Comment, have you ever learned more from someone's struggle than their success? Remember, champions aren't crowned in moments of victory. They're forged in moments of vulnerability.